So if you've been following this channel, you may know that my favorite laptop style is 14-inch. That's why I'm very excited about the HP EliteBook 1040 G5, that's Generation 5. Today I'm going to review it and tell you why I think it's one of the best business laptops around if you have the money. Stay tuned. All right, before we get started, let's add some context. If you don't know, the EliteBook is HP's premium line of business laptops. You can think of it as a sister to the Spectre line for consumers. That EliteBook line gets broken up into the 800 series and 1000 series, which is what this is. That's made for executives and high-end managers. So they're going to be the real expensive stuff. You can think of it as like Lenovo's ThinkPad X1 line, which is also very expensive. Now there's a couple of these, including the EliteBook 1030, which we recently reviewed. That's a 13-inch version of this laptop. So if you want something smaller, go check out that review. The 1040 is the 14-inch, and this is the G5, so 5th generation. And I'll show you what's new now and give you a quick product tour. Let's get to it. Starting with the exterior here, you can see HP uses an all-metal chassis. It's not a lot of flex to it. It's also not very heavy either. You do get the HP logo here in a nice little chrome finish. And as you can see, there is the antenna line for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And if you get this with LTE, that would also be there. HP is very adamant about putting the antenna lines on top here so you get better reception, but it does give you that effect and also gives you a little bit of a thick bezel, which we'll talk about when we talk about the display in a second. All right, looking at the left-hand side here, you get a USB Type-A, headphone jack, a little power button with that nice little angular design, Kensington lock, and that's where you would have a SIM card where you have LTE on board as well. Right-hand side, you get a nice selection here as well. Another USB Type-A, full HDMI, 2 USB Type-C, and yes, you do get Thunderbolt 3 with this, and you can use the other one for charging. This does use a USB Type-C charger that's in the box, 65 watt, which is really nice. And you get some volume controls on the side as well, because, well, this is an X360 device, so this will turn into a tablet. Looking at the display here, this is a 14-inch display. This version is a full HD matte display. And what's really interesting here is this is new technology to make it matte. Usually when you do a matte screen, it's glossy, but they put a layer over it to give you that matte effect. Instead here, HP worked with 3M for a new technology where they basically engrave and scratch the screen at a micro level, and it gives you this matte resilience. And what's nice about that is the screen will last you a very long time. That finish will never wear off. That's important because this screen supports inking, and if you're going to use a pen on it, well, you don't want to scratch off the layer. So you get this sort of best of both worlds. Now, if you don't like having full HD or you don't like matte, well, that's okay. There are tons of other options, including regular full HD, or you can go all the way up to 4K. There's also the SureView privacy screen stuff if you want to basically hide what you're looking at so onlookers can't see what you're doing. So you get a whole bunch of selections here. What you don't get, though, is a 2K display, which is actually something I would have appreciated. Now looking at the top here, you do get a semi-thick bezel, but like I said, that's where all the antenna lines are. Plus you do get a Windows Hello camera with 2 giant IR lenses and basically a full HD web camera, which is an okay camera. It's still not nearly as good as the Surface cameras, but one of the better ones on the market. You also get really thin bezels on the side, and that's a change for this year. So the screen display area is basically smaller from the previous version, and it looks pretty nice. You also get a nice little chin here at the bottom. It's a nice parallel to the top. I do wish it was a little bit more thin, but that's okay. All right, looking at the keyboard here, I'm a huge fan of these. This is one of my favorite keyboards on the market. Very good travel around 1.1, 1.2 millimeter. Very crisp is how I would describe these keys. They also have very good backlighting because they're black keys. You can see the light when it's going through at nighttime. You also do get all their little controls here for Skype and everything like that. This is, again, a business-oriented laptop, so you want to get those features. Some small arrow keys, but I do like the design overall, and I think it works very well. For added security, there is a fingerprint reader. If you don't want to use the Windows Hello login system, you can use that as well. All right, HP trackpads, always sort of controversial, but not this one. This one's a really good one. It's huge, or I would say it's actually a very good size. It's glass, smooth. It has a really nice click to it. It's just a nice, soft, but satisfying click. And it does use precision drivers. I've talked about this in the past. EliteBook series do use precision drivers, and they're very good. Spectres don't, and they're not very good, so that's that. Finally, another great design aspect are the speaker systems on here. So you do get 2 top firing speakers on the deck here. Very good, very loud, but there's more than that. Besides being Bang & Olufsen, there's also 2 other speakers on the bottom. So you get quad speakers on this. HP's done, in my opinion, a really outstanding job here for audio on their latest devices. And this device is just another great example of it. Just some of the best audio you're going to get. Yeah, I wish there's a little bit more bass to it, but I'm not really complaining on a business laptop. For a business laptop, this is some of the best audio you're going to find. Looking at the bottom here, you can see those speaker grills for the other two and a bunch of screws here. You can remove this, it's pretty easy. You can also service it yourself. Over here, you do get 2 fans for intake and cooling and the exhaust here on the back. Another big change this year is this is now an X360 device, so it's a full convertible and you can use it for inking and just use it as a tablet. And it feels really nice actually to hold. You don't get the, doesn't pull back the keys on there, but they don't work of course. And you do get a Windows Hello camera, which actually really helps when you're logging in as a tablet. And also for an extra $70, you can get the new HP Wacom 2.0 pen. It's actually a really good pen, but it's not perfect. So it's very good for drawing in. It does have tilt support as well. It does also charge by USB Type-C, which actually sounds really clever because you don't need batteries and you can use the included charger to charge it on the go. There's also a magnet, so it just attaches to the side, and boy, is it a strong magnet. You can actually drag the laptop by it. It's so powerful. You also get that new Bluetooth eraser, which again is a very good feature to have that we haven't seen on previous HP pens. The downside here is a Type-C charger because it's very convenient, but it does die very quickly. So if you don't use the pen very often, you have to recharge this like once a week at least, in my opinion. And that's just not so good because when you do want to use that on a rare occasion, more often than not, it'll probably be dead unless you're recharging it frequently. And I think that's sort of a bummer. All right, power and performance. So nothing unusual here. You can get this with a Core i5 or up to a Core i7. We're using an 8650U. That's the latest Intel 8th generation processors. And it is a difference from last year. So these are 15-watt chips. It's the run-of-the-mill stuff you find in Ultrabooks. Last year's model actually had a 45-watt chip, which was kind of crazy if you think about it. Having a 45-watt processor and something this small and thin. The problem was a lot of people ended up not liking having that much of a powerful CPU and not much for a GPU. So instead of fixing the GPU part, it just lowered the processor. So this is a standard Ultrabook one. It does perform well. Now the MateBook X Pro is going to outperform it. I think it has better thermal. So, but when it comes down to it, it feels just as fine as a Core i7 as any other laptop out there. For graphics, getting back to that, so these are Intel UHD 620, so again, nothing unusual there, performs pretty well, but I would have preferred to see an MX 150 or even MX 250 on there to give you a little bit of that extra graphics push, but HP says they didn't see much of a need for it, so they didn't add it. RAM can go up to 32 gigabytes, and you can configure that on HP's website. We're running at 16 gigs here, and same thing with the SSD, you can go up to 1 terabyte or even higher if you want to do it yourself. They are using a Samsung PCIe NVMe SSD on here, so I get very good performance. When it comes to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, you're getting Intel 8265, so that's the good stuff. And if you want to get 4G LTE, you can also get that as an option as well. Battery life is actually very good. The EliteBook series has always been one of those that just lasts a really long time, and HP's done a very good job here with power management. So I'm getting 8 to 10 hours out of this device, which with the Core i7 and Full HD actually falls in line with what you would expect, but I feel like I can use this all day. I've really had no issues. It just lasts a really long time. All right, so let's bring it all in. What do I like about this laptop? Well, the form factor is really kind of perfect. I think the overall design of it is just very professional looking. I love 14-inch displays. It's an X360 now, so I can use it as a tablet. I can use it with inking. The pen works well. I love having a matte display, especially on this, and I think they did a really good job with it. It's a bright display. It works very well. Keyboard is excellent, trackpad is good, go HP, and the audio is exceptional. If you're using a business laptop, usually you sacrifice audio. They just throw in really crappy speakers, but HP did a really outstanding job here for audio, and it's just really fun to use. Performance is also very good. I like all the options they give you, including that 4G LTE, which I really wish this version had because then I would use it all the time. Now there are a few things here I don't like as well. So that pen is actually really good. It's a great pen to use. It feels nice in the hand. I love the Bluetooth button on it, and the magnets are super strong. Yeah, it can still get knocked off in your bag, but this is one of the best versions you're going to get. But what really bothers me is the recharging ability for the pen. So I like using Type-C, but it doesn't hold a charge for very long. More often than not, when I go to use that pen, it's going to be dead. And I think that's really sort of a downside here. I wish it would go back to a battery system, which I think was more efficient. Now, another thing that really bothers me are the thermals on this device. So it stays pretty cool, and that's not the issue. And the fans work, but they're very loud. Or I should say, it's not so much loud, they have a high-pitched whine to them. Now, it depends on how you use a laptop. If you use it plugged in, you throw it into performance mode, you'll hear those fans more. But I did find in a quiet room, the fans irritated me. It just has that high-pitched tea kettle whine that you can kind of hear from the fan versus a low-level whooshing, which I would get on the MateBook X Pro. So I think it's one area that HP really needs to focus on here is thermals. They've had complaints about this in the past with the Spectre series and as well as previous EliteBooks, and it still kind of exists here. It cools the device down very well, but they need to work the fan so it's not as annoying. Or at the very least, they should be able to give you a software so I can control it. I'm okay with, say, turning those fans down and having a warmer laptop. Or if I really don't like that, well, I can run those fans at a high level and just keep a cool laptop. A lot of companies give you that option through software. HP surprisingly doesn't do that. I say surprisingly because there's a ton of software on this device meant for enterprise and security level stuff, but nothing for the fans and thermals, and I think they can address that. They've done that on the Spectre series. They need to do it on the EliteBook series as well. Finally, it's going to be pricing. This is an expensive laptop. It starts around $1,900 and just goes up there depending on how you're going to configure it. You go with that 4K display, you add an LTE modem, it's going to get very expensive. But these are the kind of devices that companies buy for employees that are meant to last years. And it's meant for, like I said, the high-level people up in companies. So they really want something nice and premium that has all the security features that they want. And in that sense, the pricing here is not much different than what a ThinkPad X1 series is going to run you as well for similar spec features. This is also a pretty rugged laptop, so it should last a long time. I personally love using EliteBooks. I think they're just a lot of fun to use. I'm not really obviously a business type, but it does bring a lot of good features that I think a lot of people want in a laptop. That X360 is really nice, the pen support. Everything about this laptop is pretty solid. So if you're looking for a 14-inch business laptop and you like the design and feature set here, I think it's a pretty outstanding buy if you can afford it. All right, so that does it for this review. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I'll try to answer them as well. If you want more information about this device, we'll have a link in the description as well. Otherwise, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. So think of executives and high-level managers. That's the business line. One more time. I got to do that over again. I got to warm up. Otherwise, you can go to the description. We'll have links of where you can buy this as well. Lost my train of thought.